Hello, my friends. Wow, 10 minutes after 2. Oh, my Lord, what a morning. There's a song about the end of time. It wasn't the end of time, but my Lord, what a morning. I had details and responsibilities and boring. Hi. Glad to be with you today. How you doing? Come on in, have a seat. Sometimes I would be late for appointments with people in my office. I generally found them very understanding, although I don't know. Maybe it doesn't feel good to wait. I try to be on time. I don't like to be late at all. Sometimes things are not in your control. So welcome to my office. I'm Pastor Lou Kilgore. I think maybe you know that, but maybe you don't. Maybe you're new. You're welcome here. We anticipate new people might be dropping in anytime and wondering, what's this about? This is a pastor's chat. Maybe you've never imagined that you might want to have a conversation with a person who does what I do for a living. You sometimes might want to have a conversation with a doctor or a chiropractor or maybe even a therapist. You might want to have a conversation with someone who is in finance and banking. I don't know. Maybe even some days you might imagine having a conversation with a pastor. And so here's your opportunity. Only with the crazy world we live in, with the COVID infection and all the uncertainty and all the tumult of 2020, this conversation with the pastor is one way. It's just a one-way conversation where all of your side, I have to imagine, I have to project, I have to assume. I hope you're okay. I hope you're okay. I know some of you just recently have been dealing with our old friend grief. And what I mean by grief is not just the regular loss of like things that are going on, but that someone you know has died. And my heart goes out to you. And I hope that maybe this conversation can be a comfort to you. I don't know. But I'm here. I'm usually here every day, 5 days a week. And for a longer session on Sundays, 10:30, sermon and some music and some reading, prayers. And then on Tuesday evening at 7:30 or 7 o'clock, I do a Zoom Bible study. And in order to engage in that, you need the Zoom invitation. If you'd like to join it and you've never gotten the invitation, send me an email. Email is the primary point of contact for me, revlouis@aol.com. revlouis@aol.com. And I'll get you an invite. I'll add you to the invite list that goes out to our community. And so Tuesday nights is a conversation with the Bible. We're basically using the format of a read-through, believe it or not. We go slow. You can join in. You don't have to have been there for the class before, I think, to have it be meaningful and significant. We work very hard to relate what we read in the Bible to what's happening in our lives. And we try to be very careful not to let what's happening in our lives focus what we read and see in the Bible. We try to hope that it's the other way, the other direction. So, some days when I do these pastors' chats, I sit here at my new makeshift desk, and I have 15 or 20 minutes before it begins to take the inventory of how I am, where I'm at. Most days I have that. I read my devotional book. I think about what I've talked about before and how to move on. Today, everything went out the window. So today I sit down in front of you without having my own reflection, my own time away from stepping back. And it's just, here I am, I'm glad you're there. So you get to experience me sort of sorting it out while I'm sitting here. This creative pause. Chance to yawn. I was yesterday, somewhere in my journeys yesterday, I was going to try to do contact tracing and remember where it came from, but I think it was a sign that I went past that was talking about creating and holding on to gratefulness. That gratefulness can be eroded away in life's experiences. But that gratefulness is a unique mindset that we have. It's something we adopt. It's something we take on. I grew up with that song. We've talked about it before. Count your blessings. Name them. Name them one by one, individually. Counting your blessings and naming them to see what God has done. Now, in that song that I remember from my childhood, and it doesn't say remember your blessings and be glad. It just says count them, put them out in front of you so that you can see the blessings that you have in life. What do you count as blessings? What's in your life that you count as a blessing? Sometimes other people might be surprised what you count as a blessing. Some people might look at your life and think that what you think is a blessing is actually a curse. It's true. It happens. Well, they say one man's junk is another man's treasure. Well, one man's blessing is another man's curse. One woman's curse is another woman's blessing. It's important to sort it out for yourselves and then watch how trying to make the distinction and put in those categories, this is in my life. This is a blessing. This is in my life, and this is a blessing. This is in my life, and this is a blessing. 1, 2, 3. Now, I'm also aware, and I thought about this yesterday when I saw this sign and began down this trail, that what's a blessing today might be a curse tomorrow. Wow, isn't that part of the adventure of life? They're not always the same. Some blessings endure. Some things, some circumstances, some conditions endure. They're always a blessing. They always add. A blessing means something that adds to your life, something that enriches your life, something that makes your life better. What are the things that make your life better? And if you try this, if you work on this, you're liable to get involved in a drift, right? Because you'll start to think about things that you clearly want to say, make my life better. And then the more you think about them, they may drift over into the not blessing category. Well, the more I think about it, it's not really all that much of a blessing. But sifting through your life experience, finding the blessings. It's important work because our eyes are, we're very negatively oriented creatures. We do tend to see a glass that has this much water in it and a glass this tall, and we see it half empty. We tend to see things, unless we work at it, we tend to see what isn't here. I've often said that that's because we're ambitious. We have goals that are high. And we use, in a way, this kind of negative thinking to think it spurs us on to then not settle, to not accept something which is mediocre or something that is only halfway. Count your blessings forces us to stop that sort of endless treadmill of our thinking and to hold on to and to quantify for us the things that are blessings in our lives, that add to our lives, that make you, I don't know, happier may not be the right word, but things that make your life worth living. Well, one of the master themes of the scriptures, of the Hebrew Bible and the Christian Bible, one of the master themes, the overarching themes, was that God met with Abram and Sarah and invited them to walk with God in a mutual relationship, and the result of that relationship was that they would have blessings. Their lives would be made better because they were walking with God, and because they were receiving blessings, they themselves would be a blessing to all the families of the earth. When you count your blessings, when you count and know and hold on to an awareness of how you have been, how you are being blessed. Wow, what a religious word. That's a church word. I don't know what translation of that word would bring it out of the church world. Fortunate, I don't know. Gifted with. What? Blessing. When you are aware of how you in your life have these things, these persons, these experiences, which are or have been a blessing in your life, have made your life better. And you open your eyes to them and you see them and maybe you make a list of them. Maybe you have to quantify them and put them in front of your eyes. It makes you a better person in the world. It does. It improves your position in the world. It changes your posture in your relationships with other people. When you know that you're a person who's been blessed, and it's not vague, it's not out there, and you go, well, I know, I probably should. No, it's specific. And you touch it. You touch the things. You visualize them. You hold on to them. You quantify them for yourself. You become a blessing to others. It's just the way it works. You live your whole life seeing, curses is not really the opposite of blessings in my mind. The downers. You live your whole life keeping an inventory of the downers, the toxic people, or the people that really get to you, or the circumstances of missed opportunities, or, I don't know, if only I had, whatever, jobs you didn't get, or relationships that didn't work, experiences of heartache and brokenness that have happened to you. Listen, those things are real, and I'm not talking about trying to pretend they're not there. But when you're taking your inventory every day, when you're stacking yourself up, one vertebrae on top of the other, when you get out of bed in the morning, and you're stacking it up in terms of negativity, meaning what you don't have, what you didn't get, what didn't happen, what what hurts have arrived, when that's the brightest light you can turn on when you open a day, there aren't a whole lot of people that are going to want to be around you. Because they're not going to experience any blessing coming from you. It's going to be a black hole. That sucking sound that happens. So, how do we do it? Believe me, I'm talking about this, but I get days, oh my goodness. I don't know how I can venture so far from, it's like my ups are up and my downs are down. Saw advertisement on the television the other day. There's advertising for schizophrenia disease. Here's a medicine you should know about for schizophrenia. And I know that a better name for schizophrenia is bipolar. And what little I know about it is that bipolar people have a tendency to go from the lowest of the lows to the highest of the highs. They have a manic and then they have a depression. Manic depression. And sometimes I think, I know technically I don't fit this category, but boy, sometimes my highs are so high and my lows are so low. I know that when I'm in the low and I don't know, I can't see anything else. I see only the negative. I see only what I don't have. I see only how the dreams that didn't get fulfilled. I see all of that, and it comes at me like a storm in the summer, like moving on. And just like a storm in the summer, in the blink of an eye, I see something else. I'm become aware of something else, and all of a sudden, I'm as happy as I can be. I think the invitation during this season of November, it's a season of endings. It's a little bit like graduation should take place in November. The academic year really should end in November, because in November, the season, the harvest is here, which means, okay, you bring it in, you see how we did, you're stacking it up, you're saying what a year it was, and you're actually holding in your hands the blessings of the year, the accomplishments of the year, the things that mattered, the things that endured, and you're counting your blessings, naming them one by one. Don't throw them into groups. Hold them. What are your blessings? How long would it take you to make a list of them? How aware are you of them today? If you were in this chair right here, and I just stopped talking and said, what are the blessings in your life? Ooh. What experiences have you had that you feel blessed to have had? Can you name them? Can you name them one by one? Will you go through the discipline of it? Will you put yourself through that discipline? One of the patterns that often destroyed the relationship of walking together with the people of the Exodus and God in that master story in the Hebrew Scriptures of the slaves coming out of Egypt and then walking with God in times of, sometimes there was water, sometimes there wasn't, sometimes there was food, sometimes there wasn't. But going through that experience, you begin to see that as soon as life got hard, they began to just dismiss all that was in their life that was good, that was a blessing. And then, even stranger about us as human beings, they began to retell the story of their past. And they started to talk about how great it was being slaves. That's great to, you don't have to worry about what to wear, we don't have to worry about what to eat. It actually was pretty good being a slave. That's sort of the worst end game of not counting your blessings. Because when you don't count your blessings, you don't know truth about your present moment. And when you don't know the truth about your present moment, you begin to fade into retelling and rewriting the history of past moments. And sometimes when the present looks really bad, you begin to paint the past as better than it actually was. Did you follow that? I hear that a lot. I hear that happening a lot in conversations that happen with me here in the pastor's office. One of my jobs is to point it out. I try to do so gracefully. I usually ask, do you mind if I share with you a thought about what I just heard you say? You know the saying, the grass is greener on the other side? You do know that in that comment, the person who spends all their energy going over to the other side of the fence finds the grass is not, in fact, greener. Or they look back, and the grass that looked so green when it was over there now doesn't look so green. They look back to where they were, and it looks pretty green. Count your blessings. Name them one by one. Count your blessings. Hold them. Touch them. Let the power of the truth of what is a blessing to you permeate you, move through you, so that you might be awakened to the blessing that you can be. The blessing that you can be. Somebody's going to be saying a prayer of thanksgiving this season for you. Somebody's thankful that you are in their life. Best way to have that be clear is to be thankful and aware of it. Aware of those blessings that you have and that you walk around with every day. So, that's my chat for today. That's my thoughts here in this office, in the pastor's office. I hope that your answer to the question of how are you doing today will be further answered by you doing that inventory of your blessings and therefore arriving at the end of the day with a surprise of how blessed we are and how blessing ready we are in the living of tomorrow. Thanks for coming today, for being here. If it's during the day, then that's good if you're there live. If you're watching later on, as many of you do, I hope your evening is good and that your day of work was fine and that your night is a night of rest and full of hope and restoring of health and all the things that come in the night for the waking of the day tomorrow. God bless you, my friends. I will see you tomorrow afternoon.